Hi, how you doing tonight? Let me start off by telling you, this is my real voice. You're not having a hee-haw flashback. This is the way I really talk. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. I don't live there now. I moved to L.A. a couple of years ago, and I never thought I would leave the South. But I started doing a little TV and getting on the air, and then my kinfolk said, Jeff, move away from there. And I can't believe you laughed at that, honestly. What can I tell you is going on with me? I just found out 2 months ago I'm going to be a father for the first time. I'm really excited about that. Thank you. When my wife finds out, she's going to kick my ass, I swear. Now, she knows, believe me, she is going through some physical changes. Now, she is wearing the bra from a Camaro now. You know? Not just for the support, but it keeps the bugs off her blouse. I've been married about 6 years. I love my wife to death. I like women a lot. And I don't know a whole lot about you girls. I seem to know little things. Things like I know if you give a woman a little basket of seashells, they're going to put them on the back of the toilet. I do know that. I don't know why, but that's where they go. They go on the back of the toilet. You never see a toilet on the beach, but you will see a beach on the toilet. And if they don't have real seashells, they buy the fake soap ones, but you're not supposed to wash your hands with them. This past January, I drove cross country with my wife. I learned something on that trip. A woman's job on a long trip in the car is to sleep and control the heat and air conditioning. Every time I try to sneak the window down, she wakes up and goes, roll that up, I'm cold. It's like, why don't you hold a pan of muffins so we'll have something to eat when we get there? 5 days I hardly saw her. She was buried under all these jackets and blankets. Once a day I'd hear her voice, where are we? We're in hell. That's where we are. We're in hell. Just crossed the river Styx 2 miles ago. Now, the only fun I had on the whole trip was knowing everybody that passed our car on the right-hand side was laughing their ass off at her doing that open-mouth jello neck head bob. They're laughing at you and you don't even know it. And don't get me wrong, you need a woman on a long trip in the car. You need them. Because they always have food hidden away and they can keep you alive. Well, see, men don't want to stop for food. Men don't want to stop for anything. Because men want to be able to get there, to walk in the front door and go, made it in 5 hours, 18 minutes. Three minutes faster than last year. Didn't even stop for gas. Pulled up behind a tanker truck. We hooked up with him. Had the kids pee out the window, and here we come, buddy. Thank you very much. It is nice to be back here. As Charlie said, I did write the book, You Might Be a Redneck If. In fact, I have to tell you, this summer I was working in Oklahoma. A guy brought one of the books to the show. The book was real beat up. And the guy came up to me. He said, sir, he said, I keep this on the back of my toilet. Would you sign it? Well, if you'll hold it, I'll sign it. But for those of you that may not know if you're a redneck or not, they asked me to do a few to try to help you out. Things like if you own a home that is mobile and 14 cars that aren't, you might be a redneck. If you take your dog for a walk and you both use the tree at the corner, you might be a redneck. If you refer to the 5th grade as my senior year, you might be a redneck. If you prefer car keys to Q-tips, you're grown, but you know what I'm talking about. If the most common phrase heard in your house is somebody go jiggle the handle, you might be a redneck. If you've ever taken a beer to a job interview, you might be a redneck. If you see a sign that says say no to crack and it reminds you to pull your jeans out, you might just be a redneck. And trust me, I know about rednecks. In fact, this summer I did something I'd always wanted to do. I cashed in a ton of frequent flyer miles. I took everybody in my family to Hawaii. 13 people, thinking this would be the vacation of a lifetime. It ended up being the Clampetts go to Maui. Because you get my family together, there is an empty Kmart somewhere. They show up at the airport, they are using coolers and grocery bags for luggage. This guy kept like, which one's yours, the Samsonite's? Like, no, sir, we got the Igloo with the duct tape on it. And the 5 Piggly Wiggly bags right there. And on the plane ride over there, the movie they were showing was Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey. 5 minutes into this movie, my brother turns to me and goes, you know that ain't them dogs' real voice. My sister got mad. Well, thanks for spoiling it for everybody else. And we were staying right on the beach. You could tell which rooms were ours. Ours were the ones with the underwear hanging off the balcony. And according to the manager, the site of the only peeing for distance contest they had ever had there. Which I am ashamed to say my Aunt Rose won in the second round. My man, they don't go to hotels much. They stole everything from this place. When you get out of the shower, you are using toilet paper to dry off with because they have the towels in the Piggly Wiggly bag. One day, one of the maids went to lunch and left her cart in the hall. Lord, they were on that like buzzards on a mule carcass. Picked it clean. I asked my brother, I said, what are you going to do with 180 shower caps? He said, Christmas presents. Then his wife got mad. Well, thanks for spoiling it for everybody else. Like a lot of women, she takes a long time getting ready, but she's smarter than I am, so no matter how late she is, she can keep me right there on her schedule. This is her best trick right here. You're not wearing that, are you? No, I ain't wearing this. It's just what I'm wearing while you're getting ready. And being a man, we have no idea what's wrong with it. We try on everything we got. What about this? A sweater and a bathing suit. What do you think about that, huh? I got more. Hold on, I'll be back. It amazes me, as little as men know about fashion, girls, you still ask our opinion about stuff. We'll be ready to walk out the door. My wife will say something like, honey, which earrings do you like better, the white ones or the black ones? Oh, hell, I got a 50-50 shot at this. I'll say the white ones. The white ones now got to change this blouse. No! Never leaving this house. Crap, I got to shave again. When we're men, we just don't care as much about how we look. You never see a guy picking up his buddy to go fishing at 5 o'clock in the morning going, damn, Bill, you ain't gonna wear that shirt with them shoes, are you? It's after Labor Day, for crying out loud. She worries about stuff. She has things in that bathroom, the vault, I call it, because the door's always shut and whatever goes on in there costs a load of money. I snuck in one. She has things on one shelf for dry skin, oily skin, chapped skin, combination skin. Have you ever known a man with combination skin? I mean, let's say somewhere out on the construction site. Hey, Donnie! Drop the hammer! Come in a trailer. Now, Donnie, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but you have dry cheekbones and a greasy forehead. It's combination skin, Don. Well, I didn't want to say anything, but the men been laughing at you and calling you Mr. Flaky Face. Same thing with smell. She asks me every day, do I smell good? Like the way I smell? See, because if men have an odor, it's usually an accident. Charles, what is that alluring fragrance? Oh, that's Michelob. I hit a bump in a truck. Both sexes sexes care about smell. They do, but women will go to trouble to smell good, and men are more like, hey, does this stink too bad to wear one more time? Maybe I should put it in the dryer. I think women feel a sneeze coming on. Every time before my wife sneezes, she reaches in her purse, pulls out a tissue. See, men have no idea we're going to sneeze. We could be riding a bus somewhere and be like, doo-doo-doo-doo, what? Oh, man, I'm sorry about your shirt. You can put that in the dryer. That'll be all right. Yeah. God bless you. Take care of yourself. But you know who's smart? And Doc, back me up. Is kids are smart. I mean, that's why the fifth graders show work. Kids today, they're so much smarter than we were. I remember my oldest daughter, when she turned 5, she wanted a computer. She's 5 years old. We get a computer. She can use it. I mean, 5 years old. Remember what we got when we turned 5? Little wooden paddle, rubber band, red ball on the end of it. That was a brain builder, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3. You'd hit it about 4 times, the rubber band would snap, the ball would fly across the room, break something, you get a spanking with the paddle. No wonder we turned out this way. It's a different age. It's like my daughters, every toy they ever got had some tag in it showing you somebody had inspected it to make sure there was no possible way a child could hurt themselves playing with that toy. Hell, I remember being 9 years old. My parents bought me a wood-burning kit. Oh, what could possibly go wrong with a toy like that? A sharp metal stick that heated up to 5,000 degrees. And let me tell you something, our dogs and cats didn't have a little tag around their neck, but everybody in the neighborhood knew who they belonged to. Yeah, the Circle F brand, that's the Foxworthy cat right there, right? Who had a wood-burning kit? Probably a lot of guys. Remember how long the cord was, the little curly cord? The cord was about that long. So you're always guaranteed to be in right next to the drapes while you played with it. Did anybody have the swing set? My parents were too lazy to actually dig a hole in the ground, go buy a bag of concrete and pour it in. So we had a swing set. Anytime you swung above this high, the legs of it would go whoomp, whoomp, whoomp. There were stuntmen that would not swing on our swing set. And I'm pretty sure my dad had a few beers the day he put it together. Because at the top of the sliding board, there was this big bolt. And I'm sure it was supposed to have gone from the inside out. But ours went from the outside in. And every summer, every kid in the neighborhood had a pencil-thin scab from their ankle all the way up the back of their hiney. Think back to the toys, lawn darts. Lawn darts, 12-pound darts. You could kill an elk with a lawn dart. And there were no directions. They came in a box of 8. We used to pull them out of the box, throw them straight up in the air. You catch one of those with your head, you're getting coloring books for Christmas the rest of your life. And to this day, my mom gets upset if she sees me take a sip out of a beer. But when I was a child, she bought me model airplane glue by the bags full. I'm in my room trying to build models. I'm higher than AC/DC on the opening night of a new tour. Finally get the model put together, then my dad would give us firecrackers to blow them up with. And we knew they were safe because we had to drive across the state line to buy them from a man that had 3 fingers. Not on each hand, total 3 fingers. That's a good firecracker right there. You'll like that one. This guy can't operate a Bic lighter, but he's a demolitions expert. Out with my own family, thank you very much. No more breast reduction surgeries. I mean, why should I be penalized just because your back hurts? Come on. Take an Advil, for crying out loud. No more commercials where some law group is trying to get somebody to sue somebody else. We are the most sue-happy nation on earth, which is why our car insurance is so expensive, which is why our medical insurance is so expensive, all the lawsuits. And it started with cars. Have you been in a car accident? Do you know someone that's been in a car accident? Have you ever heard about a car accident? Now it's everything. Has a woman with a vaginal mesh implant given you the prescription drug fen-phen, which caused you to develop mesothelioma? If so, you could be owed billions. I just remember that happened to me last summer. If there is any war on women, it's men fighting with each other trying to get a woman. Because everybody loves women. And you know why every man wants a woman? Because women are in sole possession of the most valuable thing on the planet. A brain. These two guys are like, oh, I missed that one. Oh, guess what? They own all of that too. Which I think is part of God's great plan. See, I think God created women to guide men through life. But God knew men were hard-headed and men weren't going to listen to women. So God gave women the other stuff just to make us pay attention. I just think he may have underestimated how powerful the other stuff was going to be to us. Well, think about this. Adam and Eve live in the Garden of Eden. God says to them, you will never be hungry, you'll never be thirsty, you'll never be sick, you'll never die. I'm going to come by every afternoon and go for a walk with you. There's only one rule to live here. Don't eat the fruit off of that one tree. Now, God had no more than gotten in his car and driven off when Eve walked over to the tree and picked an apple and looked at Adam and said, think we should eat this? And he looked at her standing there buck naked and went, hell yeah, baby, if you want to, let's do it. If God had put her in a flannel nightgown
on a late night Arby's run or something, I ain't sure what the hell's going on. A lot of drinking going on in Vegas. I'm not a big drinker. I think drunkest I've been my whole life was Cinco de Mayo last year, August 16th. And I tell you what, one thing I don't do, though, is drink and drive very well. I've never done that well my whole life. You don't want to get caught drinking and driving. You a celebrity, you make the news. I remember the cake boss, Buddy Velasco, got a DUI. Can you imagine the cake boss in jail? I wonder if he took it in the bunt. Took it in a bunt. Start the bus. I had a buddy of mine retiring from the military. We took him to Las Vegas. He got hammered one night and picked up a redhead transvestite, and I tried to stop him. I'm like, don't do it. You don't know what you... Too late, he done it. Next morning, I see him hunched out there on the bench. I'm like, hey, how'd that work out for you last night? He said, it was weird. You ever see them? I go in there, do my business, stand up, gone. Pissed me off. Didn't have time to take a picture, nothing. All right? There I'm sitting on a world record, now I can't get no proof on the daggone thing. I mean, seriously, technology's screwing me out of everything. The maid embarrassed me. She walked in on me naked at 3 o'clock in the morning. What the hell's a maid doing on an elevator at 3 o'clock in the morning? All right, seriously. Yeah. Every time I go to Las Vegas, there's always a buddy of mine. You going to Las Vegas? Yeah, why? Hey, here's $300. Gamble it for me. All right. Call me up 2 days later. How am I doing? You lost everything. All right, I apologize. How are you doing? I'm up $300. I'm doing all right out here. Tell you what, I'll be here another 2 days. Send me $1,000. I'll gamble it for you. Not a good gambler. My wife's pretty good at crap. She wins a lot of the time because she plays topless and nobody's ever looking at the dice. Oh, this'll piss you off. This is what America's come to now. Did you know this? You can actually now get kicked out of a casino for pooping on a crack.
And the thing only hurts when it moves. You just never knew when it was going to move. I mean, you'd feel great. You'd be talking to people. People are like, Jeff, what are you working on? I'm like, well, I was just out in L.A. filming some more of the American Bible Challenge. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Hold my hand. Help me, Jesus. They're like, boy, he takes that show seriously, doesn't he? But the pain was nuts. I read online doctors say it's the equivalent of a woman giving birth with no meds. Any women here given birth and had a kidney stone? And both. You've had both. Which one was worse? Giving birth. What about you? Giving birth. Here's my argument as defense attorney for the kidney stone. A year or two after having a baby, a woman will say, you know what, I'm about ready to have another child. You never hear a man say, well, I've about quit puking and crying. I think I'll drink a case of Coca-Cola and see if I can't work up another kidney stone. And when my doctor saw the big one, he immediately started writing me a prescription for Percocet. And I hardly ever take aspirin. I'm like, dude, you're wasting your time. I am not taking Percocet. Oh, you skinny mustache, bow-legged boy. When that thing started moving, I was eating Percocet like they were peanut M&Ms. I went from being Dr. Oz to Keith Richards in 3 seconds. And one night the pain was so bad, I'm telling you, I told my wife, I said, you got to take me to the hospital. The Percocet's not making a dent in this. So she drops me off there at the emergency room, and she goes to park the car, and I walk in, and I walk up to the desk, and the nurse said, so what's wrong with you? And I said, I have a kidney stone. And she kind of laughed. She goes, well, you're going to be waiting a long time tonight, hon. I said, no, ma'am, you don't understand. I said, I am in the worst pain of my life. She said, well, you just feel like you're going to die, but you're not. And I said, boy, you don't have a lot of sympathy, do you? She said, oh, you're looking for sympathy. Baby, that is in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. She said that. I looked it up later. She's right. I mean, it is. But she just hands me the clipboard to fill out. So I go in the waiting room. I sit down next to a guy that's got a knife in his head. He's got a knife sticking in his head. I'm like, oh my God, were you in a fight? He said, no, I have a kidney stone. I did this to myself trying to get to the back there. And sometimes when it would move, it would land in such a way it would block the urine stream, and then that ureter would balloon out, and it was the weirdest feeling because you felt like you were going to wet your pants, but then when you went, holy cow, did it hurt. So half your brain's like, you better go to the bathroom, you're going to embarrass yourself, you're going to wet your pants. And the other half's like, don't do it, it's going to hurt. And the kidney stone was like that Somali pirate in the movie Captain Phillips going, look at me, I am the captain of the ship now. I make the rules. And they had you pee through a strainer. Did they make you pee through a strainer? Because they want to find out what the stone's made of so they can take that out of your diet. So I felt like, you know, at Christmas when you watch the old Rudolph thing, the prospector, Yukon Cornelius. That's what I felt like. Nothing. So y'all, this went on for 6 weeks. 6 weeks, every day I was in this pain. And you know, the thing would lodge and it'd block the urine, then it would move and it would hurt. And then all of a sudden I hit about 4 days where I felt great. And I thought, well, did I miss it in the strainer? Or maybe I passed it. And so I went back to the doctor and they took another x-ray. Well, the thing had lodged right in a bend in the ureter next to the bladder. But because it was lodged, it wasn't moving, so it didn't hurt. And it wasn't blocking the urine. Men that shave their heads look really cool. 50% of the white guys that shave their heads look like they just murdered their parents. And you're thinking of somebody right now, aren't you? Fact of life, flying on an airplane makes you gassy. Nobody ever talks about this. Nobody ever acknowledges this. We just take our little roll-around suitcase and walk to baggage claim, popping them off like a trail horse. Okay, let me tell you what makes me feel better. when I write this stuff, I don't know if it's just me or not. But when you laugh like that and start punching each other, I know there's others in the club. And I think that's why TSA is always in such a bad mood, by the way. Fact of life, if you wake yourself up with a snore, the first thing you do is look around to see who's laughing at you. Fact of life, when your wife or girlfriend gets tipsy, there is a very fine line between her talking dirty to you and sleeping like a hibernating bear. And by fine line, I mean about half a sip. You wait till we get home tonight, mister. I'm gonna tear you up. And once she crosses the line, you ain't getting her back. It's like the paramedics putting the paddle on a body and doing something. It's only paid off one time. I got a buddy named Perk. He's a carpenter. He wears this phone on a clip on his belt. So anytime he puts his hands on his hips, he butt dials somebody. So one day Perk butt dials me, and I don't have anything to do, so I'm just listening to him. And I can hear him walking around, and I hear a door open, and I hear a door close. Well, then I hear a lid go up. Being the mature adult I am, I go running down the hall. I find my wife. I'm like, Perk's peeing, Perk's peeing, Perk's peeing. Put it on speakerphone. Me and my wife sit there and listen to my buddy urinate. Halfway through it, we heard. My wife starts laughing so hard she wet her pants, which I think is God's way of saying, verily, verily, do not listen to thee that butt dial ye. That hair up before he snatched that weave out your head. Now, can you see this girlfriend? She going back in the house. No, she going down to the basement. Girl, get your shit and get out there now. Fact of life. If your wife hints she might be in the mood, your kids will sense it and won't go to bed for 3 years. Talking about kids, fact of life, the more kids you have, the worse your parenting becomes. People that only have one child are making homemade baby food out of organic vegetables they're growing in their own backyard. Yeah, by the time that 4th child rolls around, you're smoking a cigarette while you watch your toddler pull a year-old milk dud out from under the stove and eat it. Pick the cat hair off of it before you put it in your mouth. Come on. Fact of life, out of all the dinosaurs, the Tyrannosaurus Rex was the meanest because his arms were too short to reach his wiener. That is a medically proven fact. That will make you angry. And you'll never watch Jurassic Park the same way again. Fact of life, if you're driving down the interstate and you come up behind that old pickup truck that has like 13 wooden pallets stacked in the back and they're held together by like 2 ratty bungee cords, we all say the same prayer. Dear God, do not let... One of the most recent trips to Louisiana, we went down, my wife's cousin got married in Baton Rouge, and so we went down for that wedding and the rehearsal dinner at Hooters. If I'm lying, I'm dying. And our waitress that night was qualified to work there. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure she was on a scholarship. First time she walked up to the table, my wife's Uncle Don looked at her and went, woo, woo, where'd you get them things, girl? I thought, oh, she's going to get mad. And she didn't. She was very cool. She said, I bought them. Well, then Don's wife, Lois, said, you know, I've been thinking about buying me some. Don turned to Lois and said, you are 62 years old. You getting a boob job would be like hanging a new chandelier in a haunted house. This is the blood that flows through my children. And when we went to the wedding, we stayed with my wife's mom and dad. In fact, we spent 5 days with my in-laws, which on life's list of fun things to do comes in right below sitting in a tub full of scissors. And everybody here has family like this. You have people in your family, you love them. You love them to death. You just don't do real well when you have to share the same house, because your lifestyles are different. And that's the case with my in-laws. I mean, they're getting on up there. They're in their golden years. And see, I'm out late at night doing this kind of thing, and bless their heart, it's all they can do to stay awake through the Wheel of Fortune. You're at their house, you watch American Idol, you feel like a hellraiser. It's 9 o'clock, we're still up, we're crazy! But because they go to bed so early, they get up early, which is fine. If, like normal human beings, they drink coffee and read the newspaper, that's not what happens in the nut house. My father-in-law, who is retired, who has nowhere to go, gets up at 5:45 every morning of his life. He walks straight into the den and starts watching the Discovery Channel at a volume normally reserved for movie theater sound commercials. So you're lying in bed. The sun has not thought about coming up. All of a sudden you hear,
like other predators of the plains, the jackal subdues its victim by clamping his neck and slowly squeezing the life from his body.
You're in the bed going, you know what, that ain't a bad idea. And it's a weird sensation to be mad and learning at the same time. Second morning we were there, I learned everything there was to know about the African willow fly before I had even peed. You know that fly only lives 28 hours? That's his entire life, 28 hours. I'm lying in the bed thinking, boy, you only live 28 hours? You can't afford to have a bad day. And what happens if you get involved with a girl that wants to take it slow? Honey, we're going to be dead in 3 minutes. Spread your tiny wings and fly away. And we always have to sleep on the fold-out couch at their house. Boy, that's a good night's rest, isn't it? Got that one iron bar under your skull, one under your pelvic bone, that last one under your ankles. Sleeping on that thick, thick mattress. I've eaten bologna thicker than the mattress on the fold-out couch. And boy, they keep that house a little warm. The inside of their house is about the same temperature as the bottom of a rocket when it's this high off the ground. And they walk around in sweaters. Is anybody else cold? Is it just me? Is anybody else cold? Hell, I'm naked on the tile bathroom floor, gasping for air. Well, I remember when I was in the 4th grade and the firemen visited our school, they told us that's where the last oxygen would be, right there next to the floor. I'm in the bathroom so long, my mother-in-law's beating on the door. Do you need a correct-all? You eat too much cheese. And I'm not making fun of old people. I'm not. Because I really do believe that's the goal of everybody here tonight. We all want to live long enough to someday be an old person. I do. I not only want to be an old person someday, I want to be a burden to my children. Oh, I know the day's coming. My kids are going to be on the phone with each other going, it's your turn to take Daddy for a while. Oh, he's making those noises. He doesn't even know he does it. If you don't come get him, Todd and I are going to get a divorce. It's going to be your fault.
So I'm a bow hunter. I'm a big outdoor guy. I bow hunt. I like to fish. I look for arrowheads all over the country. I love being outdoors. So I'm on a bow hunt in the Northwest Territories of Canada, 30 miles south of the Arctic Circle. And anybody that says we're running out of places for people to live has never been up there, because it's... It's like the moon. There's nothing. I mean, we were staying in this little, we got dropped off by a float plane, and we were staying in this little lean-to down by a lake. But to hunt these caribou, they lived up above the sheep. I didn't know that. I thought, caribou, I've seen them on TV. They go in herds of thousands, and you just hide behind a rock and shoot one. Hell no. They're up there above the sheep. And I'm like asking the guide, where are we going to go? He goes, well, see the top of that mountain? I'm like, oh, no, really? He goes, no, the mountain past that. That's where we're going. So you just walk your butt off. So the first day we go up there, and it seems like we walked forever, and we found a few caribou, but none we wanted to shoot. So we stay out there glassing all day, and at night we're walking back. And I mean, we probably walked 10 or 12 miles. You know, you got these backpacks on, you're carrying your bow, and you're dead tired. And as we crest the hill down in the valley, I can see the lake where our lean-to is. And our guide's like, come on, we're going this way to the left. I go, dude, no. I said, we can cut straight down through here and cut the distance in half, and we'll be back at the lean-to. He goes, we could, but that's where all the grizzly bears live, is right down in that valley. And I'm like, why don't we go this way over here? But I learned an important lesson in that is don't guide the guide. Don't guide the guide. He's the reason you paid him to be there. Well, it was the same thing in my life. I didn't have a great father modeled for me, but that didn't mean I couldn't be a great father. What I needed to do was to find guides. And so I would look at guys that I knew that were great dads, and I would just pick their brains. I'm like, tell me, how do you be a great, I don't know. Tell me how you be a great dad. I would find guys that were great husbands. And I'm like, tell me how to do this. You know, every guy in my family has been divorced for the past 7 generations. How do I be a husband that doesn't end up like that? And you know, one of the things that I learned, and that's why being authentic is so important, because you're not just being authentic with other people, you got to be authentic with yourself. You got to be authentic and tell yourself, hey, this is where I know that I've got a blind spot, or I got a weak spot. Because mine was never alcohol. I mean, I don't have anything against it. It doesn't do it for me. I'm just not a big drinker. It's never been drugs. I'm not going to tell you that I haven't tried things way back in the past, but that never did it for me. But like my dad, I have always appreciated a good-looking woman. So like when we were doing the blue collar tour, and this is going on, I've done stand-up for almost 40 years. This has always been the way I do it. But I knew out of the things that get men in trouble, that's where I was vulnerable. The other two, I wasn't going to go out and do heroin. I wasn't going to go out and get blackout drunk. But I like a pretty girl. So when we would do blue collar at the end of the night, we'd get through with the show, and the other guys would always go out and hang out at a bar, and they would go, Fox, come on, then let's go have a beer. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to go back to my room and order room service and call home. And it wasn't that I thought having a beer was a bad thing. Not at all. Here's what I knew. I knew Jeff, not being a drinker, if he had 1 beer and we were having fun and laughing and cutting up, I'd probably have 2 beers. And if I had 2 and we're still laughing and drinking and cutting up, I might have 3 beers. Well, now, Jeff's getting happy, and all it takes is somebody in a low-cut dress that smells good sitting down next to me, and I'm going to start flirting with her. And I'm in a really precarious situation where I can do the same thing that my dad did. And so I'm like, be wise. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to be vulnerable. Because if you break that thing at home, you can glue it back together, but it's never the same. It's never going to be the same. So be wise and don't if your thing is alcohol, don't go out to the bar. It's going to get you in trouble. Be honest with yourself. I mean, all of us have weak spots. All of us have blind spots. But be wise enough to avoid those spots. Because here's what happens. Trust, and you know this with your friends, Trust is built, it's like a cup of coffee. You build trust one drop at a time. When you meet somebody, you don't know nothing about them, you have no trust. And then you'll go out and you'll do something together and you go, I really like that dude. And you got a couple of drops of trust in there. And then over the months and over the years, that cup fills up one drop at a time and it's full. But when you break trust, it's like breaking the bottom out of that coffee cup. You don't lose it a drop at a time, you lose it all at once. And when you lose it, it never comes back the way it was before. And so for me, yeah, I like a pretty girl, but I didn't want my kids to look at me that way. I didn't want my kids to look at me the way I would look at my dad when he was on marriage number 4 and we'd go out to eat somewhere and he'd start flirting with the waitress and I'm like, holy crap, here we go again. You know, because he may end up leaving me at the restaurant and leaving with her. I mean, that's, he was good. He was really good.
I don't know why only rednecks are seeing UFOs. And here's the deal. You got to discount 90% of that stuff right off the top. Because my Uncle Jerry swore they had crop circles in their yard. Then we found out that his wife had called Goodwill and they'd come and got the trampoline and the boat trailer. So, you know, mystery solved. But let's just say for a minute that aliens really are visiting Earth, but they didn't want people to know they're visiting Earth. It makes sense that they would only reveal themselves to rednecks. Because A, we usually live out in the country, so there are not going to be a lot of witnesses. B, we have no credibility with the media. I mean, people might believe a doctor from UCLA if he saw one and said, well, they appeared to be bipods from a hydrogen and nitrogen-based environment whose primary respiratory organ was located within their moist translucent epidermis. As opposed to Cletus in his overalls going, it looked like a giant booger with real skinny legs. And here's the deal with the abductions. See, rednecks don't get to take a lot of vacations. So if somebody comes around and offers to fly us somewhere for free, we're going. And if you're traveling the universe, who better to have on board than a redneck in case your spaceship broke down? Because we'd have the hood open going, all right, I see what the problem is. Your nuclear fusion doojiggy sprung a leak. But look here, y'all get me a coat hanger, a Mountain Dew can, and some duct tape. I'll get us as far as Uranus. I don't know why, after all these years, my wife continues to ask, what do you want for your birthday? What I always want for my birthday. What's every man on the planet want for his birthday? The same thing every woman on the planet doesn't want for her birthday. You know, never once has my wife said to me, forget the flowers, forget the presents, why don't you just lock the door and take me to Squeal Town? But it's what every guy wants. You can be visiting your 90-year-old grandpa in the nursing home and be like, happy birthday, Papa. Is today my birthday? Sure is. Well, help me get my pants off. I don't know why a dog can eat its own vomit, gobble up cat poop, and lick its rear end for hours and be totally fine, but if he eats half a candy bar, he dies. They need to renegotiate that one.